Now at 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Parents are still upset over a viral political rant from a Cheshire teacher. Thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 10. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. The Board of Education for Cheshire Schools held their meeting tonight, and even more than a week after that teacher gave her resignation, many people still have a lot to say.
Yeah, Fox 61's Kay Paddyfoot was there when parents voiced their concerns and frustrations tonight.
Annie Dunleavy resigned from Cheshire Public Schools last week, but that's not enough for some parents. They want to know why they weren't notified sooner, and they even asked if she was a male student, would the situation have been different?
If a male student had sent a video like this or had posted it, my guess is that that person would have been arrested.
Parents still upset over a video that led to a former special education teacher resigning. Annie Dunleavy left her position with the Cheshire Public School system after the politically charged video where Dunleavy could be heard making threats directed at supporters of President-elect Donald Trump. Amy Borden said she wants to address this so it doesn't happen again.
In this case, she resigned from her position, but I think that the way that it was handled, I don't think the next teacher would resign. I think that they might, stay and try to leverage the policies that are in place or not in place.
Others say with so much violence in the world, everything, even something like this, should be taken seriously.
The quicker you handle this, the better your chances are of stopping something from happening. If they had misjudged this teacher with her real intent and her level of anger, something could have happened.
Superintendent Dr. Solon was able to speak to these parents regarding their concerns and questions, especially ones about why she wasn't charged.
The police department on that, they determine if people get arrested. The superintendent does not. That's not something that's within my purview. She was not at school or any school on Monday. And the idea that, I might compromise student safety to protect our interests is insulting, frankly.
Board of Education members encouraged parents to email and call the State Board of Education because what happens to that former teacher is out of their control. In Cheshire, Kay Paddyfoot, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Okay, thank you. Time for a first look at the weather here. And after waiting a long time, it was weeks. It seemed longer than that. Without rain, that all changed today.
Some areas in our state might be waking up to snow as well. I can see it on your map, Rachel. Yeah. There's a lot of blue stuff there.
I had to add a different legend because I still had just the rain legend here at the top of the screen. But yes, it is still raining across the state. Many areas have seen over an inch of rain, which we love, but now the concern shifts to the morning commute. And what's this? Maybe the first flakes flying for some in the western half of Connecticut, and maybe even a few slippery spots. This would all start after midnight tonight, and the slippery spots maybe through 9 or 10 a.m. in parts of western Connecticut, and that might mean that you need a little bit of extra time to get to your destination. There could be anywhere from a scattered coating, maybe up to an inch or two. The best chance for 2 would be in the higher elevations immediately on that New York border. Let's check it out. We've got the rain ongoing right now and some heavier downpours that are really starting to get underway. We'll take every drop we can get, but watch the colder air starting to filter in, and that's changing some areas now to the west over from rain to snow. And the thinking is that will happen for some of us overnight as well. 11 p.m. rather, it's still pouring across the state. I'm going to pause here at 1 a.m. Danbury is either switching over or seeing a rain-snow mix, and then we'll see that for Waterbury, Litchfield County, and even the higher elevations of Hartford County as well as we head into tomorrow morning. Temperatures are going to be kind of borderline, generally around and maybe even a degree or 2 above freezing. So the thinking is that that should really help road conditions. However, again, we're planning for the worst and hoping for the best for the morning drive. And we'll see a lingering scattered rain or snow shower as we head through the rest of the day on Friday, with highs climbing in the 40s. We'll talk about the weekend changes, your full forecast coming up in just a bit.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Flags are at half-staff tonight to honor former Connecticut Governor Jodi Rell. Her family tells us she passed away after battling a brief illness at a hospital in Florida.
Governor Rell was a historic state leader and respected political giant. Her sudden death has sent shockwaves across Connecticut and D.C.
She leaves a powerful legacy in and out of political office. Fox 61 political reporter Emma Wolforst tells us how dozens of people are remembering Governor Rell tonight.
It's hard to find someone without something to say about former Governor Rell. She served in the State House of Representatives for a decade, starting in 1985. Then she was lieutenant governor on John Rowland's Republican ticket, but she had to take over to pull the state out of massive scandal after Rowland was federally investigated, eventually serving prison time. Rell was only the second woman governor here in Connecticut, leading the state from 2004 to 2011. She described her job over those years as restoring honor to Connecticut and public faith in government. Those I spoke with say there was no one better for that task at the time and believe the country right now could use more politicians like Jodi Rell.
Our state lost a trailblazing female leader.
I love what she stood for, but I loved her as a human being and as a person. She did not run around as a Republican. I didn't run around as a Democrat. We ran around as friends.
She was a classic moderate Connecticut politician, and I think that goes true for the silent majority, the people in the middle. She was very good at that.
She was a person who put people over politics.
She really tried to work across the aisle for the best interests of the people in Connecticut. And I think that reflects the fact she's a good person.
She was always thoughtful. She was always careful what she said. And she was, she brought out the best in people. She wasn't a partisan. The state came ahead of party politics, which is something kind of unique in today's age. But that's what she did, and that's what all politicians should do.
Governor Rell had sort of that maternal style of governing. And I think it's why the state of Connecticut embraced her so much. And she just had such a high approval ratings in the state of Connecticut. She talked about how she sort of felt that she was the mother of the Senate and held people in line. She had a certain grace about her when she did her job.
In a day of bombastic politicians and whoever the loudest in the room is tends to win, she was the exact opposite. She was civil, she was calm, and I think she really was a steady hand for Connecticut at an important time.
Rell was Connecticut's last GOP governor and did spend the rest of her life promoting work across the aisle and inspiring political involvement, especially through Hartford's Jodi Rell Center for Public Service. In the studio, Emma Wolforst, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Thank you, Emma. And as you can imagine, friends and former colleagues across the political spectrum are remembering Governor Rell tonight. There are so many reactions that we simply don't have time to share them all on air for you, but our team's compiling a list on fox61.com. You can go there and read them all.
We have an update tonight. Hartford police say they have located a double homicide suspect's vehicle, but not the suspect himself. Police say they are still searching for Lance Morales here. He is considered armed and dangerous. If you see him, do not approach him. Just call 911. Morales is accused of shooting and killing 20-year-old Josiah Mercado and her infant son, Messiah Diaz, on New Britain Avenue Tuesday. A man in his 20s was also injured.
Southington fire officials are investigating a barn fire tonight. The fire happened on East Street. Multiple departments needed to step in to help put out those flames. Fortunately, there were no animals or people inside the barn, but firefighters had to make sure it didn't spread into a nearby wooded area. That would have been dangerous. It's still unclear, though, what started the fire.
A New Haven man has been convicted of sexually assaulting a minor along with other charges. 66-year-old Alberto Nieves was found guilty of sexually assaulting a child at a New Haven child care center last year. According to the police report, Nieves is the husband of the owner of the child care center. Nieves will be sentenced in February.
A corrections officer is facing charges for allegedly assaulting an inmate in Montville. Todd Blevins was arrested yesterday. State police say the assault happened last November at Quarrying Correctional Center. According to the arrest warrant, surveillance video shows Blevins throwing an inmate to the floor, jumping on him, and then holding him down. The inmate had several injuries and had to get stitches. Blevins is due in court next month.
A proposed quarrying operation has met with resistance from neighbors in Ledyard at a public hearing tonight. Gales Ferry Intermodal has proposed blasting a 40-acre portion of Mount Decatur in the Gales Ferry section of town. The company would sell off the granite for ballast for offshore wind turbines and other uses. Neighbors raised multiple objections, including a realtor who said homes would be devalued. An environmental health expert raised concerns about contaminating drinking water with radon. Others were concerned that silica dust, a known carcinogen, would coat nearby school playgrounds.
We cannot ignore common sense. The project will create noise, vibrations, traffic concerns, and dust dangerous to the environment and our health, and to the health and well-being of our children.
Well, no decisions regarding the special permit needed for the project were made tonight. The public hearing will continue at a later date.
On the same day, former Congressman Matt Gaetz withdrew from being considered for U.S. Attorney General. The president-elect has already named his second choice.
Pam Bondi is Donald Trump's new pick for the high-profile spot. Connor Hansen has the story.
President-elect Trump has named Pam Bondi as his new pick to be Attorney General. Bondi served as Florida's first female AG and was a member of the Opioid and Drug Abuse Commission during Trump's first term. In a Truth Social post, Trump wrote, quote, "Pam will refocus the DOJ to its intended purpose of fighting crime and making America safe again."
I was a prosecutor for 18 years. I worked for President Trump. He's my friend. And I can tell you he surrounds himself with a lot, all strong, bright, brilliant women.
The new selection for the top law enforcement position in the country comes just hours after Florida Republican Matt Gaetz withdrew. Gaetz met instant backlash from lawmakers concerned with both his lack of relevant experience and a pending House investigation. The former congressman was accused of sexual misconduct, drug use, and other crimes.
He was controversial. He understood that. I actually appreciate the fact that he withdrew so that President Trump can put somebody else in place, maybe less controversial.
Some were not surprised he dropped out.
Matt Gaetz was never going to be Attorney General of the United States because of the fundamental weakness which he had and the lack of support amongst Republican members of the House and Senate.
Pam Bondi was one of Trump's lawyers during his first impeachment trial. On X, Gaetz wrote Bondi is a, quote, stellar selection. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.